It's been a bit since I had this one out. I think I picked this up at the end of 24. I think is when I got this at the CCKS show from Greg. This is a Medford Merc-1 OTF, and honestly, it didn't disappoint me as much as I remembered it when I picked it up out of the display case and was pondering what knife to do for today. And I looked back and saw that, like I said, it had been about a year since I got it. It's very kind of an old school scarab layout, you know, the wide, relatively thin, somewhat broad blade. Most OTFs nowadays tend to have a much narrower chassis, with the exception of the Microtech Scarab, and I guess the Trudon and Combat Trudon kind of have a somewhat wider chassis, but proportion-wise, I think this is probably closest to the old school Scarab in what's in production nowadays. The action wasn't as bad as I remembered when I first picked it up. The biggest drawback is Greg's decision to really buff the crap out of this button, and so you lose a lot of the texture and the grip, which Greg says that, you know, the other buttons tear up your thumb. I guess it's a choice. Yeah, I don't know. It's still, I don't know. I have mixed feelings really about the mechanism. There's only one screw, so I may as well crack it open and show you guys. Coming off camera to use the improper tool to loosen that up, because I do not have the bit for that little 6-shooter style screw. But this is one of the first hidden screw, hidden post designs that made it into production on the market. I think Core Edge was the very first one, and then Greg put this design out. Of course, this was heavily delayed when it came out, but yeah, it's got these little almost like ping pong paddle looking sears, and the way they interact with the blade to lock it open, they don't actually extend down into the blade channel like on a I guess they do a little bit, but it's not all the way. Let me get some light in here. Alright, so focus. There we go. You can kind of see that sear only extends about halfway into the blade channel. And so you don't have a whole lot of engagement. And I have seen at least one buddy of mine, he gently stabbed his into a tree, and it failed. I haven't beat on mine to try it out, mainly because I paid $500 for the thing, which is still a discount from the actual retail, which is supposed to be like $600, which is also one of the big issues with it. I'm also kind of torn on whether I prefer these little tiny sheet metal sear springs or the insanely tiny conical wound out of a human hair sear springs on the little Microtech flappy paddle type sears. It's kind of I guess it's kind of a give and take. I do like how robust he built the slider. This thing is beefy. I don't see any issue with where the trigger hooks up to the slider snapping off, like is somewhat common on Microtechs. I don't see the little dogs that come up and around and hook on the blade to fire it open and closed. I don't see those breaking. They're pretty beefy too. So, you know, it does have some interesting design changes from a typical typical OTF. Oh my god. Ugh. Rude. So rude. I apologize. Usually I have my ducks more in a row. So, yeah, like I said, it didn't disappoint me as much as it first did when I picked it up this morning to check it out. Now let's see if I can get this thing to go back together like it's supposed to. There we are. And then pop the clip back on. Screw back in. Snug it down with the improper tool off camera so nobody gets triggered. And there we go. I don't know. Honestly, it's not terrible. And if it was in line price-wise with most other OTFs at this level, which would be about $300, I think it could have been very competitive. But at $600, there's just so many better options. So yeah, I almost didn't pull this thing out and do another video on it, but you know, I got to be fair to everything in the collection. And like I said, it's been about a year. So there you go. That is another look at the Medford Merc-1 OTF with a quick little teardown showing its little differences from a standard OTF. I hope everyone enjoyed this, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Hope everyone has a good day.